I'd like to talk to you and take it right back to your early days and when you first got on to two wheels, Josh, and where did that journey begin when you were younger? What made you get onto the bike, or what gave you the want to get onto two wheels?
I grew up with my dad always racing, like every week in Shrewsbury, I remember mainly, and I used to ride around the car park, and then after my dad had raced, was the last race, I could then do a lap of the track, and then eventually I was old enough that I could race. So yeah, carried on from there, basically when I could race.
You did a 100-mile time trial when you were 12 years old, and you did it in under, this is the impressive part, in under 5 hours, I believe, which is just exceptional. First of all, what made you want to do that? How did you feel after it?
There's not a lot else to do in Wales, so yeah, and then after, sore mainly like the neck and the shoulders and your arse. Really, so.
But where was it? Was it in South Wales where you did it?
Yeah, I think so. Trial? Yeah, it was all around. I think you go towards Carmarthen and then back. It's a couple there and backs.
What is it about the love of time trialing, and now you're one of the world's best time trialists and you're always one of the big favourites, but it starts much earlier than that. What is it that you love about it so much? Is it the fact that you're good at it, or is it about the beauty, the science of that part of cycling?
I think I never had a sprint on me when I was younger, and we used to have restricted gears in the in the youth categories, and because I couldn't sprint, I couldn't win. So TTs, you against yourself, so you could just whack it, and then you know where you last time was on that course, and you can keep getting better at it, and it's not a lot of pressure, is there, at Club 10? Just show up, smash it, go home. So I enjoyed it from the kind of you just get it all out on a Wednesday night, which is class, isn't it?
And I guess there's an art to it, but you can see that progression. And of course, Club 10s, we all know it depends sometimes on the conditions and what it's like out on course. But I guess you can have, especially when you're younger, that benchmark of knowing what you'd done over the past few weeks or what your time was a year ago and how you could try and better that. And of course, with the development of equipment, that has a big change on that too.
Yeah, I mean, like I used to just, I had a Garmin, and you knew the speed you did last time, so you just try and go harder. But now you never ride it flat paced. It's always like whack it on a climb, easy on the descent, and then might be sections of corners that you can, corners of 3 seconds that you can get. So it's got a lot more complicated, and obviously the equipment is a load different, and it's weird, Some things work for some people, aero-wise, and some things don't, and it's weird, when you see, like I had custom bars and for the Olympics and the Worlds, and I always wanted mine to look proper. If you're getting custom ones, you want them sick looking and sticky outy and something different, but on fast on me was pretty boring and sedate, but it's whatever's faster, innit?
Is that hours and hours and hours spent in the wind tunnel and training and testing on the track and in the velodrome? Yeah.
I mean, we did a few wind tunnels, and there's a lot now you can do without being in the wind tunnel. They took a scan of me sat on it for these bars.
So these are ones you're saying are quite sedate and quite boring, is that what
the pads look cool, eh?
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it looks good position.
Yeah, no, it's cool, eh? But it's just cool, isn't it? Yeah.
When did you say about when you're younger and you're doing Club 10s and you're just riding to the speed of your Garmin, your head unit, whatever you've got. At what point did it start to change, Josh, of we've got a real tactic of how we want you to ride this? And was it hard for you to try and learn to pace yourself? Or did you feel once you had that guidance, it came quite naturally?
I think the way you ride it is first off up to you. So I always spend too long in the recons getting it right. So like for the Olympics, it was 110k on the recon day on this course, and that was a tricky one to do because it's basically pan flat in Paris, but you still have to find the harder sections and the easier sections. But I think and it's basically down to you. The team car can't tell you how to ride it, but then the team car can use your information to make a more accurate pacing plan. And the thing I found hard was trusting that, because I always you never know if it's going to be what you can do. You might start off in a zone that's pretty like easy, and then you're like, I see the Olympics, like I need to get cracking. But it comes to you, and you got to think the pacing plan is basically a little bit more than you can do. So you just got to trust that you're going to bonk at the end either way.
Going into your first Olympics, and I know you came out of it and you were just off the podium, a 4th place, and for you, I know you wanted more from that, but it was a mechanical, you lost time, and it was something that was completely out of your control. It was one of those uncontrollables for you. And that build-up, how was that, being 20 years of age, going into your first Olympics? What was that process like for you?
I think, apart from the race, we got everything really good. Like, had a perfect camp beforehand, perfect roads for that camp. We was doing TT efforts on, it's like 60k at 2-3%, so you're never going too fast, it's dangerous or anything. We're good people. And then at the event, we stayed a little bit outside of the village, well, a lot outside the village, and that was nice because you're not involved, you're just in your little bubble. And at the event, you had all these, there was like a row of tents, and it said, it's given you by the Olympics, it said which nations were in each tent. And we were laughing because Italy and Belgium were together, so I was like, they'll have an argument in there. And we were with Finland, and there was only one lady before us, so when we got there, it was we had a free tent spread out, and I actually closed the door because I didn't want people going, warm up and see Wout go past. So everything was pretty perfect, even a race up until just before that.
How hard was it after that point and realizing that everything was perfect until the crucial moment that mattered, and for you having to realize and then to, I guess, have that pressure on your shoulders, but I guess the expectations that everyone thought of what you could do?
Yeah, it was weird, eh? That's how I felt. Yeah. I think it's like, it took me a couple of K to work out. You want to sack it off because it's like, it's hard. Everyone's roughly going to be the same speed, so if you puncture, you're not going to be anywhere near it. But then they said I was only a couple of seconds, I went through the time thing, and they said I was a couple of seconds behind Wout. And I was like, well, Wout's going to be up there, so I'll give it a good whack. Yeah, and it was just about trying to keep the head. I think Matt in the car was class. He kept me chill and kept speaking, because I have to have it chatty on the radio, otherwise I'm thinking about legs or, yeah, I'm stressing. So, yeah, I mean, it's not what we came for, but it was pretty, we're proud of it. So.
And you can go away really proud of that performance and the way you executed everything, and at your first games to take a 4th place in that way. I guess you've now got your sights set on 4 years' time in LA 2028.
Yeah.
I know it's early. I know we've still got 4 years to go, but I'm sure now that gives you that
Yeah.
that hunger, that want.
Yeah, I mean, that was why it was such a upset last time, was because it only comes around 4 years, so you don't get to do a lot of them, and I think we were in a good place to do well in that one. So yeah, LA is going to be sick, hopefully a bit warmer.
Yeah, hopefully. A few weeks after that, you were in your first Grand Tour. You were at the Vuelta again. It started with a time trial. We were on Portuguese soil for the Portuguese Grand Depart, or Grand Salida. How was that experience for you, being in a Grand Tour and that being around the riders and the team?
Medium. No, I mean, I was so happy to be in the race, and again, it was a really nice group, and I was happy that they wanted me there to help them. The TT, to be honest, my head went after Olympics, and I tried to keep training in between. I think it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks. But everybody went. I was okay when I was riding with people. But when I was on my own, my head was thinking. So everybody went to, I think it was Renewy Tour, was on just before the Volta, all the people I trained with. So I was cracking a little bit. Yeah, the TT at the start didn't go how we wanted it to. But then I was really enjoying the racing, I had a good roll, and there wasn't any flat sport guys or me and Kim. But Kim was flying, so we let him race, or they let him race, and I could do the flat support, and I was enjoying it. Obviously, the crash wasn't good on stage one, but no, I was until that day, it was going great.
But it was really intense, wasn't it? With the weather conditions in that first week, we were having temperatures of 36, 38, 40 degrees.
Yeah.
And every day seemed like the racing was just on, and there was no real moment where it was calm or where it relented.
Yeah, I think like even if the race wasn't going, power and speed-wise hard, it was just grim. Like there, I've nicked someone's picnic full of ice. Someone gave it me on the climb, so down my neck's just someone's bag full of ice. Because everyone was just trying to get through. Every day just felt like, even if it wasn't a hard day, it's like we'd get back and we were losing kilos of like just water weight because we were sweating all day, and even in the neutrals, people were putting ice on each other, and yeah, it wasn't pleasant. Like
yeah, it was difficult, wasn't it? It was difficult for you riders to have to deal with that, and then of course for you suffering the injuries from the crash also, and then of course I think it was stage 9 you crashed again.
Yeah, I'm not very good at riding my bike, eh?
I think we'll debate that one. I think we'll go with the fact that you're an incredibly talented bike rider, and for you after that experience, what did you come out of that Grand Tour having learnt from the riders around you, and for you personally, what did you take away from that experience?
It was a much more pleasant sort of race environment than like a normal race, because it's like everybody knows you're in there for a long time, and I'm good friends with Dul and train with him at home, and we were doing the same job, and I'm like, we was chatting, like I don't need to, if Timon's happy being next to him, I don't need to flick him, and equally he doesn't need to flick me, so there's a lot more chatting and a lot more sort of, because you don't want to have to just keep battering everybody every time, or them battering you, so it's actually a lot more like organized and a lot more respect, which was nice. It's just I wouldn't want to be there for another 2 weeks. It was grim.
It was very grim. It definitely got a little bit cooler though, I have to say. The weather certainly changed into week 2 and 3, didn't it? But for you, Josh, you signed your first pro contract with the Ineos Grenadiers straight out of the junior ranks. You're 19. You've got your contract until 2027, and you've already achieved so much in the first 2 years. You take a look at winning the national championships, European time trial champion, a bronze medal last year in Glasgow in the time trial, 4th place this year in Switzerland. The the way you're able to execute these performances, and then of course not forgetting the classics. I mean, this year top 20 in the Tour of Flanders must give you a lot of confidence for what you can do in the classics going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I've always enjoyed racing more than TTs. Like, I guess I'm good at TTs, but I prefer the racing, and the classics. I could actually race a bit more, which was nice. And there was something there. So for sure, next year I really want to concentrate on the classics. Yeah.
Which ones do you think that you can really thrive in?
I think personally, Roubaix be biggest goal of the year. I'd want to say. But it can go anyway. Like, I didn't think Dwars kind of happened, where like obviously that horrible crash happened. And then over that rise, this little group went, and we were at the front, and obviously we missed it. So I was like, it's going to be a hack to get there, but I'll jump, and made it. And then I was a passenger then, because it took me too long to get there. But stuff like that can happen. You can be in the front group, and you're like, don't know how, but get a result.
Do you think what were you at Dwars of Flanders? 6th, I think, wasn't it? You were definitely top 10.
Yeah, 6th.
And did that give you a lot of confidence then going into the Tour of Flanders a few days later, and knowing that, well, the form's good, I've proven a few days ago in a semi-classic that I can perform well?
Yeah, I think I asked, I was supposed to do Paris-Nice and then go straight from there to E3 and Ghent, but I asked to take E3 and Ghent out and train because I was good climbing-wise and good, long FTP-wise, but I didn't feel like I had any kick in me. And for these races now, it's like you have to go with the kicks and then use your FTP. So I had to train, and it was nice, because I had no idea how I'd be, and then that was first race back was like a really confidence boost. And then with Flanders, it's because it's so close after, that roughly you're going to be in the right place and compared to other people.
What's that like then? You're in the biggest monuments, the biggest classics. You did Paris-Roubaix as a first year. You've only been a pro for just over 3 months. And you're in Paris-Roubaix. You did Paris-Roubaix again this year. You've done Tour of Flanders. What's that like to be in those big one-day classics where anything can happen? There's so many variables. There's so many uncontrollable things that can happen.
Yeah.
And I remember last year you had such a big role as well at Paris-Roubaix, and you've got 19-year-old Josh Tarling who's on the front leading the peloton, and you managed to finish it. You're out the time limit, but still it was that tenacity and determination to finish the race.
Yeah, it's the first year was really scary, because it's so, everybody had warned you, like it's messy, and it's, because I did Paris-Nice before it, and I was like, well, that was our day, so it can't be I don't know how it can be much scarier. And then it's like you have to do the same drag races, but you're on a road that's like this big, and there's just bollards, and it was scary. This year there was a lot more controlled. I understood how to do it, and we rode a lot better, and you have to learn the roads, which is tricky, because you just randomly see all these Belgians moving up, and you're like, why? And then next thing you know, you're on the floor, or you're in group 15. So it's following the right people, or you want to spend energy, but you don't want to waste it. So there's times where you have to be on the front, and there's times where follow a team that wants to be on the front. Because if I'm sat behind Mads and there's a whole Trek team there, Mads ain't going backwards. So you got to be clever,
What's it like within the Ineos Grenadiers going into a team with Geraint Thomas, who you were only 8 years old when he first signed with Team Sky back in 2010, and then you with Grand Tour winners in Egan Bernal, and then of course racing alongside Filippo Ganna, who sometimes at a championship he's your big rival. What's that like to race within a team with those 3 champions?
It's sick, they teach you so much, and they've just been nice, no one's ever I've always been treated like like one of them, and like I'm like really good friends with Ganna and with G and Luke and Swifty and everybody, and it makes your life so much easier. They trust you as well, because I was worried, if I got to look after people, it's like they got to trust me that I can take them in to pinch point first and stuff. And yeah, it took me a couple of races, and they trust me like fully now, and it's just nice to have the respect. I mean, it'd be nicer not to race Ganna, eh? But he's a good, cool dude.
What have you learned from him? In terms of, especially in time trialing, what have you learned from him? And also, what can you learn from each other? Do you think it also pushes you both on? The fact that your teammates and your, at the time you had Dan Bigham, who was working with you for the performance and the aerodynamics and that side of things. Do you think it actually works to both of your benefits when you actually go to a championship?
Yeah, for sure, because a team put more like trust and materials into us, and we can push each other physically and like mess around with each other a bit. It's quite fun. I learned a lot. I stole his coach. I did the recon for Glasgow with him, and G. You always take little. He's gone around that corner like that. I'll take it a bit differently or whatever. But no, he's proper class. Like I wouldn't want to. I'm joking, but I wouldn't want to be in a team without him, because he's good. It's good to like be pushed there.
If you got good camaraderie between you both, and do you have a room together? Or who do you generally room with when you're away at a race or a training camp?
It's usually random, just because you don't want to be with everybody and mixing. But I had him with the classics. He bought me an iPad in the classics. We were watching.
Bought you what?
He bought me an iPad. Yeah,
Wow.
We was watching. We were watching something on my phone, and he
need a bigger screen for that.
Yeah, I was holding it, and he was like, "What is this?" Like, cracking me watching it. So next day he left because he went back to Italy because Belgium's freezing, and
you're used to it. It's like that in Wales, isn't it?
Yeah.
Always, similar weather conditions.
Yeah. So and then I come in for the ride. There's an iPad waiting for me, and he said like, "Yeah, well, let's watch stuff properly." So yeah. He's class guy. I really like him.
I think that just shows the character, but also the respect that you both have for each other, and that much it must feel like to have that trust and that respect for each other, and that's incredible. That's blown me away.
Yeah, I think like when we're racing together, we don't actually race together that much, but like Crow race, we were racing together, and. You kind of feel a bit like we both know that we're good at TTs, and it's like if we're rotating on the front in each other's heads, it's like who try to come round us. Like I trust him. He's not going to let no one come round us, and then I'm not going to let anyone come round us. There is a little bit of like I don't want to do that kick into the corner. I might put him on the front, and then he keeps doing that to me a lot. So, but.
It's a little bit of good inter-team rivalry, but in a good way. Yeah.
Ben's good at that. Ben is tough. They had to do all the kicks, and he got to do all the just rotating bits. It was cracking me, but it's good to have that help, eh?
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. For you, Josh. Of course, there's been a lot of talk about the Ineos Grenadiers and what they need to change, and of course, a couple of riders, it seems, in the team aren't happy with the way things are going, and how is it for you personally, and what do you think? I mean, you're there until 2027. That's when your contract runs to currently.
Yeah.
How is it within the team, and do you feel affected when you're hearing lots of things going on and being said about the team, or do you just try and keep under the radar a little bit?
Yeah, I think like. It's not broken. It's a team, isn't it? It's not like an object. So, like, I re-signed literally not long ago because I think to jump ship on something like a team, when it's maybe not where we want to be, is like giving up in it. So I think like they've changed a load of stuff, and a load of there's a load of new people coming in, and I think like everyone's trying, and the mentality is different, the coaching is different, and I think it's more exciting. I don't think we should give up. I think, look, we're here. It means we can only go up, and it'd be nice, to sort of. There's been a lot of like bad media, and it'd be nice to be part of that, turning it around, and some people can do one, and just enjoy coming back and bringing it back to where it was.
Because you've grown up seeing what was Team Sky and then into the Ineos Grenadiers. You've grown up and seen them be this successful team, one of the world's best teams, and seeing them thrive in Grand Tours and have so much success.
Yeah.
Does it give you a lot of motivation then to think to yourself, well, we can be a part of that new success?
Yeah.
We're going through a bad moment now, but that's only momentarily. We're building for something bigger, and we're going to come back fierce.
Yeah, I think I've never seen it as anything less than that. I joined the team with all these winners, and I've never seen, like, in my head it's never gone down, like, I just think these races are so hard to win, and you get luck and you get bad luck, I just think, yeah, we're in a rough patch, but like, we've got all the tools and all the equipment and all the riders. There's no reason why we can't. It just didn't quite go well this year, so I think next year with a few changes is going to be class.
How do you manage that with the pressure and knowing that you can be one of the world's greatest time trialists, Josh, and knowing that you can succeed and you can achieve, you've already proven at European level, you've been on the podium at Worlds, just off the podium at the Olympics and Worlds this year in fourth place. How do you manage and deal with that? And the expectation too.
Yeah, I just think like, it's always a next race, isn't it? Like, even if I won the last race, like Worlds or whatever, it's like I can still start next season and get battered. So it doesn't mean anything really, like, in terms of morale and moving forward, like what you've done. So I just think there's not a lot of pressure, I think it's more like, it's more want. There's no one's pressuring us to get better, because everybody wants to get better and get back to winning. So I just think everyone's looking forward, and what's good is that no one's looking too far forward. It's worrying sometimes when you look to say the Olympics like 28. Everybody's looking at like next year, first race, win it. Rather than maybe in a few years, because that's a bit. You wouldn't be as motivated.
Do you think that works better for you, looking at step-by-step goals?
Yeah, for sure, because you can just go from one to the other, and you never just. It's hard to get your head around training for 28 when it's like you can train for classics next year, and there's so much going on. Like, compared to now and start of the year in Australia, so much has happened, and it's like it feels like 3 years. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, lots of races, and your season was due to end at the Track World Championships in Copenhagen, but that was put on hold. You were recovering from the injury from the Crow race. I'm curious, are you wanting to try and do a bit more track? Are you wanting to try and continue that?
Yeah, I would. I think Team Pursuit, I think I could be good at it, but it's such a different, you can't just drop in and ride. It's not like riding 4K, it's like, there's so much, although it looks really smooth, there's so much work goes in, even to just like, you're riding behind someone, and it's like, you need to know how they move on the track all the time, and you can't just drop into that, and I did, after TDU, I did the Nations Cup in Australia, and that took so much effort for that as well, just so you can get used to whoever you're riding behind and get used to the effort, because it's so different to what we do. But I think Madison is more doable, drop in and out. Like, obviously you need to train, but it's more suited to road races. You have the engine, and you see now most of the really, really good Madison riders are all are all road riders. So it's a long one, eh? So.
It's a good race to complement both disciplines and to be able to have that combination.
Yeah, I like so much racing as well, like thinking. You know, there's TP, you just get on it and whack it. But with that, it's a lot of timings and positioning, and it's tricky. And I like that, you know. I rarely get to race properly. I'm always helping other people race, or obviously in Flanders, I get to race and stuff like that. But an actual like proper race where you can really think about it is nice.
Like a jigsaw puzzle, and you're trying to put it all together, and you really use your mind and how you can figure it out and make it work. And
it's I'll rate it.
Gosh, I feel like we could sit here for another half an hour. You take a look at the room, everybody, drop a pin in here. I could sit here for a lot longer, but for now, give it up for another legend here, Josh Tarling.